Hey, welcome back, viewers. What we're going to do today is we're going to disassemble this 1986 Campagnolo Triomphe caliper. We are restoring a 1986 Lotus Chinelli design Triumph. Pretty rare bike. You don't see too many of them around. So we're going to disassemble this and get it cleaned up, polished up, and then reassemble it. So let's get started here. We'll go ahead and take of course, the easy stuff off first. Usually when I do all this, I put everything in the order that I take it off in. Take off this cable clamp. It's also a quick release for the brake. It brings the, when you lift this lever up, it brings the pads apart so you can take the wheel out. This just pops out here. We'll go ahead and take this off. We're going to replace this ring. I got a replacement ring here. I got that on eBay. Okay, so we'll get this ring off of here. I get a really small screwdriver here. Let's get that in there. And we'll just take it off here. Again, we're going to put a new one on, so we'll get rid of that. And next we'll take these pads off. That's 10 millimeter if you want to know there. Okay, get the spring off. Same thing, we'll just kind of put this here, flip it up, one out, and we'll take the front off here first. That first one off. Little washer here. We'll get this cleaned up, and when we put it back on, we'll go ahead and rub a little bit of oil on there, not a whole lot, just a little bit. Pull that out. That one goes there. These are on the end. Another washer here. And then you want to make sure, remember how this goes on here. Now, you can take pictures of everything laid out so you know how it goes back together. And or take a picture of this like this. And so we'll know that the spring goes on this way and not the other way, this way. So we'll just lay it there for now. We'll lay it there. Okay, nothing to that there. Now we're going to get this all cleaned up and polished up and get it back together. Okay, so now that we have this all apart here, I'm going to go ahead and get this all these parts in a cleaning solution. What I did when I laid these out, took a picture of everything, how it goes back together. Of course, I've done this before, so I kind of know how it does, but in case it's your first time doing this, go ahead and lay it out how everything goes and then take a picture of it so you'll know. So I'm just going to throw everything into this solution here, and this is, I'll show you the cleaner that I use here. I used to use Performance cleaner, which I really liked, but the problem with that is it doesn't come in more than like a 16-ounce bottle. So I use quite a bit of this stuff. And I'll show you what I use here. This is a small bottle that I bought just to test it out to make sure I like it before I buy the big one. But this is called Miracle Red. It works really well. It is concentrated, so you can dilute it. And I bought a gallon jug of this after I used this to test it out. It worked really well, just as good as the performance. So anyway, this is what I used. And if you want to try it, give it a try. I'll put it in the link below. And we're going to go ahead and I let this all sit overnight and to get this stuff, the grime kind of loosened up. Then we'll scrub everything tomorrow and continue from there. One thing I do want to let you know is that I don't put the brake pads themselves in that solution just because I don't want anything to happen to the rubber. These I'll just clean manually. I won't really soak them. So that's that. Okay, we let these soak overnight, and you can see the water turned a little cloudy. That's the mixture of the water and the cleaner. So we'll get to clean all these parts. Okay, got all the parts cleaned up and wiped off here. Next, we're going to go ahead and start buffing the small parts. The calipers themselves, I'm not going to buff those on the wheel. I'll just clean them up with some semi-chrome. They originally didn't come buffed out like that and so shiny, but they are going to look good. But all the small parts we do want to be pretty shiny there and buffed out. So we'll get started with these. Okay, now that we got all the little parts buffed up here, we're going to go ahead and shine these up with the semi-chrome here. And all you need for that is, of course, is a good paper towel. It's got enough roughness on the surface to get in there and get this polished up really well. Okay, you can see how well that semi-chrome shines this up here, and that's about what it would look like new. So we don't really need to put that on the buffing wheel. So we'll do this for the other side, other caliper side there, and a few of these small parts we'll go ahead and do the same thing, semi-chrome, just to get the residual buffing compound off of there, and then we'll start assembling. Okay, so we're done with everything being cleaned and polished. Again, we just did the calipers with the semi-chrome. Came out great. I'll put a link down below in the description for that also if you're interested. What we're going to do is put this back together now. I'm going to put a little oil, a little lube on these washers, and probably a little on the rod here. Not very much, just a little bit. And just so that's on the inside. So we'll go ahead and Get a little bit there on here. Because these calipers, of course, do move back and forth, and these are in between. There we go, not much. A little 3-in-1 oil. Now, go ahead and start at this end here. We'll get the spring in place, in the groove. And get some on here. Go ahead and spread that oil out a little bit. Okay, now I'll get the first caliper on here. And just going to go ahead and sit that, put the spring in the groove, trying to hold it in place there and keep this together if I can. Going to tilt it up a little bit. Rub that around. That in place. Get the next caliper on. Now we'll get this far here. I'm going to go ahead and get the other part of the spring loaded here. Put that around. I'm trying to do this so you can see it too, and hold this together. But I'm going to have to get on the other side here. There we go, right into place. Okay, before we do anything, we want to get this on. A little oil on there. And we'll get this. Tight and get it clamped together before we start squeezing it together, because it'll come off. And there we go. I'm gonna get this turned first, get this on here tight. And this one uses a 12mm. Get that nice and snug there, not too tight. We'll get it as tight as we can and still have this work. Yeah. And one thing you want to check out here too is make sure, try to make sure you have the even amount of spring showing on the bottom here. Yeah, and it's moving really free. Good. And it was snug, not too tight. And then we want to get the outside nut on here. Not too tight with that either, because that'll also tighten everything down. Still feels pretty good. There we go. And there, yeah, so now I can't loosen with my fingers. I'm going to get it like that right now. We lubed that up earlier. So that's all together. We'll leave this off because, of course, that's how we connect to the bike. And what we'll do next is we're going to get the hands wiped off here, the new rubber around the cable adjustment. And this should just snap over place pretty easy. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Looks good. Yeah. I want to leave a little bit showing there so we can adjust that if we have to. Give us some leeway. And next we'll get the anchor on there. Okay, I just want to get a better close-up here of the anchor, how it goes together here. The this little part here is rounded on the outside area, and the part that goes against this part right here is flat with a little serrated area there to kind of hold it, and the bottom is flat, and you can see the rest of it is rounded, and that goes on the top. So this will be sitting in here like so, and of course the screw goes right in there, holding that in place. And there we go. Leave it a little loose so we can get the cable through there. And this, go ahead and just slips down in there. And now we'll get the brake pads on. And again, the flat part down. And these we won't put on very tight either, just because of course we have to adjust those. So I'm just going to get them right about the middle. Snug it up a little bit, so yeah, so don't want it moving all around. Same as the other side. And also some of these nuts have a flat side, some don't, but this seems to be flat on both sides, so it doesn't really make much difference. Snug just to hold it in place. There we go. It's all back together. These are still snug. It moves freely. And it's ready to be put on the bike. We'll get that set up over there and go ahead and put it on. Okay, so we're going to get this on the bike now. I put a little bit of grease on the outside of this here so it would not get corroded, and it'll turn freely. And of course the this lock nut go on that side there. So we'll get this turning. The Cinelli bridge. I like the way they do the insert here for the screw to hold it in place. This uses a number 5. And yeah, it's moving great. Those are still snug. There we go. Good. All right, well, that's it. Hope this helps. This one's on its way, the 86 Lotus Cinelli design. And we, of course, have a lot more to do here. And see it when it's done.